If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even your 80s and you've stopped having sex or given up on intimacy, I want to tell you something that might surprise you. This isn't just about pleasure. It's about your heart, your brain, your health, and your connection to life itself. Far too many people think intimacy is optional, something we leave behind with age. But the truth is, giving up on closeness can quietly steal away your vitality, your sharpness, and even your sense of purpose. Here on Better Health After 60, we share the real, sometimes uncomfortable truths about aging, the ones that can make all the difference in how strong, alive, and connected you feel. And today, I want to talk about what really happens when intimacy disappears later in life and how you can bring it back, no matter your age. Let's begin with the most surprising place where the loss of intimacy shows up first: your brain. 1. Your brain begins to age faster. I remember hearing stories from men and women in their 70s who started noticing small slips in memory, forgetting names, losing focus, feeling less sharp. Often nothing serious showed up on medical tests, but when we talked more deeply, a pattern emerged. Their intimate lives had gone quiet. Science confirms this connection. Intimacy, whether it's sex, touch, or closeness, stimulates blood flow to the brain. It activates areas tied to memory, learning, and emotion. It also triggers powerful natural chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, the very chemicals that keep you alert, boost your mood, and protect against stress. When intimacy disappears, your brain loses that stimulation. Over time, focus fades, energy drops, and the risk of cognitive decline rises. I'm not saying intimacy is a miracle cure, but it is a form of nourishment for the brain, one that's deeply human and impossible to replace with pills or routines. And it's not just about memory. Without connection, people often begin to withdraw socially. They become less curious, less motivated, even less joyful. That slow fading isn't just emotional, it's neurological. The good news? With the right steps, you can absolutely keep your brain active, alert, and emotionally alive well into your later years. But while the brain often shows the earliest warning signs, your body is never far behind. Because when intimacy disappears, your physical health starts to change too. Circulation weakens, hormones shift, and strength quietly fades. That's the second consequence we need to talk about. 2. Your circulation and hormones begin to decline. One of the most powerful, yet overlooked benefits of intimacy is what it does for blood flow. Every time you're sexually active, whether with a partner or even on your own, you're encouraging circulation to some of the most important areas of your body. This circulation keeps tissues flexible, keeps oxygen flowing, and supports overall vitality. But when intimacy disappears for months or years, those vessels are less stimulated. Blood flow slows down, and the first place you notice it is often in your energy, your stamina, and yes, in your erections. Now let's talk about hormones. Sexual activity naturally balances key hormones like testosterone, oxytocin, and dopamine. These aren't just sex hormones. They protect bone strength, muscle mass, mood, and even heart health. When sexual activity fades, so does this natural balancing act. Testosterone levels may dip lower. Oxytocin, the hormone of connection and bonding, isn't released as often. Dopamine, the chemical of motivation, becomes less active. The result? Fatigue, lower confidence, weaker muscles, and sometimes even a loss of desire itself. It's not just age doing this, it's the absence of stimulation. Here's the hopeful part. Even occasional intimacy can help restore these rhythms. You don't have to return to the frequency of your youth. What matters is consistency, giving your body regular opportunities to keep circulation and hormones working in your favor. But the effects go even deeper. Because without intimacy, your emotional health, your mood, your confidence, and your sense of being connected to life takes a heavy hit. That's the third consequence we need to uncover. Your emotional health begins to suffer. Intimacy isn't only about the body, it's about the heart. And when closeness fades, the emotional toll can be just as serious as the physical. Many seniors quietly carry feelings of loneliness, even when they're married or surrounded by family. Why? Because the type of closeness that intimacy provides is different. It's not about company, it's about connection. It's about feeling desired, cared for, and emotionally alive. When intimacy disappears, confidence often slips. Men may start to feel less masculine, women may feel less attractive, and both may silently believe their best days are behind them. Over time, this can fuel anxiety, irritability, or even depression. And here's the truth that isn't often spoken. The absence of intimacy can deepen a sense of isolation. People stop reaching for touch, stop expressing affection, and slowly withdraw into routines that feel safe but lonely. But the reverse is also true. Even small gestures of intimacy, holding hands, cuddling, a kiss before bed, can release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. That simple act reduces stress, lifts mood, and builds a quiet but powerful sense of belonging. And for couples, intimacy is often the glue that keeps relationships strong in later years. Without it, frustration can build, communication can weaken, and distance can quietly grow. But when intimacy is maintained, couples often report deeper connection, more laughter, and more joy in everyday life. Emotional health matters at any age, but after 60, it becomes the backbone of resilience. And nothing supports it quite like regular, meaningful intimacy. Still, there's one more area where the absence of intimacy leaves its mark, and that's your overall longevity and quality of life. That's the fourth consequence. Your longevity and quality of life are affected. One of the most surprising findings in modern research is this. People who maintain an active, intimate life into their later years often live longer and live better. It's not just about sex itself. It's about what intimacy represents: connection, circulation, hormones in balance, and emotional well-being. Together, these create a stronger foundation for health. Studies have shown that seniors who stay sexually active often enjoy lower risk of heart problems, better sleep, stronger immune response, and even greater life satisfaction. On the other hand, when intimacy disappears, the opposite tends to happen. Sleep worsens, immunity weakens, energy declines, and motivation to stay active can fade away. Over time, this can create a cycle where the absence of intimacy speeds up aging instead of slowing it down. And let's be clear, intimacy after 60 doesn't have to look the same as it did at 30. It doesn't have to be frequent, long, or physically demanding. What matters is consistency and connection. Small moments, regular closeness, shared touch, affection, these keep the body and spirit alive. In fact, intimacy in later years often becomes less about performance and more about presence. Less about proving something and more about enjoying something real and meaningful. So if you've let intimacy fade, know this: it's not too late. Reawakening closeness at 60, 70, or even 80 can still bring back energy, lift mood, protect health, and add precious years to life. But at the core of it all is one final truth. Intimacy is not just a luxury. It's a form of medicine for the body and soul. And that's the fifth and final consequence we need to talk about. The final truth. Intimacy is medicine. When you step back and look at the whole picture, one message becomes clear. Intimacy isn't just pleasure. It's a vital sign of health. It sharpens your mind. It strengthens your circulation. It balances your hormones. It lifts your mood. It protects your heart and even extends your years. Losing it isn't just part of aging. It's a warning sign that your body and spirit are missing something essential. The good news is that intimacy doesn't have to fade just because you're older. It may look different. It may move at a slower rhythm, but it can be just as fulfilling and even more meaningful. For some, that means rekindling intimacy with a partner. For others, it may begin with self-acceptance, touch, and rebuilding confidence. The key is not to close the door on this part of your life, because when you do, you close the door on vitality itself. Here on Better Health, after 60, we believe aging should never mean giving up on joy, connection, or love. Intimacy is one of the greatest gifts we can carry with us into our later years, and it's never too late to rediscover it. So ask yourself, are you truly living or just existing? Because choosing intimacy, in whatever form it takes, is choosing life.